familiar, but we all know our primary job is to keep you awake after lunch. We will try. We will try. Pleased to introduce my colleagues, Dr. Parag Katira from Mechanical Engineering at SDSU, Dr. Forrest Rauer from Biology at SDSU, and Jamie O'Neill, a research scientist at SDSU and AI researcher. My own background is as an English professor, for what it's worth, and so this question of what counts really matters if you've been doing work in the humanities or social sciences and you've watched universities, funders wrap themselves around certain indices, very narrowly defined and calculated, in order to assess the value of scholarly endeavor, right? And this problem, it turns out, is not just for people like me. It's something that concerns scientists as well, for the health of the entire field of inquiry, right? We'll get into more detail, but just overview. Our goal today is to talk about developing novel metrics that just do a better job than what is available in capturing work that really matters. These should be non-controversial slides. We know that there are things we say we care about, and the ways we count them do not align with what we say we value, right? So, citation counts, gameable. H-index follows. Journal prestige and brand, we all know many important things happen at the edges of fields, not right in the established thoroughfares, right? Federal grant dollars, which is highly disruptible, gameable. First and senior author papers, high volume, incremental output, right? None of these things typically counted align with what we tell ourselves about our institutions and our missions. And in fact, what might be good for science, good for knowledge. And there are some consequences of this. It's not just that we have a mismatch, it's that the mismatch hurts us. It hurts us. It warps the whole endeavor, right? So it narrows the knowledge space. Safer work that is more likely to hit all the right buttons and avoid all of the ChatGPT searchable keywords of doom, right? That work is going to get funded. Gamification, we all know about people with secret hacks for downloading their paper as many times as possible. Impoverished communication, this one gets a little more abstract. When we only talk about H-index citation and dollar signs amongst ourselves, the leadership of universities, of funding agencies, follows that conversation. Their vocabulary, consequentially, is narrowed as well. And when they have to speak to parents who are paying tuition, or to Congress people, or to the public, our citation, our inside baseball stats do not translate. They just don't translate. And then undervalued contributions, right? The most consequential work, the edgiest work, the most risk-taking work, the most honest work, oftentimes just isn't even visible according to the numbers that we currently value. And all of this has bad consequences in aggregate when research portfolios overvalue certain kinds of incremental science and completely miss out on more edgy work that is actually capable of driving fields, driving novel discoveries, right? Like any portfolio, if you're talking about developing a faculty, developing a body of grant-funded projects, you want a diversified portfolio that is resistant to externalized shocks, like regime change or new technologies. Okay. So, and it's about to get worse, right? Because the AI is coming and it's going to take all the jobs, it's going to write all the articles, there's going to be more articles, and there's going to be more to read and more peer review, that's going to be done by more bots. We're all facing a potential avalanche of content. And so the important, here, let's go back to, here we go. The stakes of the problem become even higher because narrowing in again, work that is honed to meet current metrics, and then more of it, and more of it, and more of it. How do we sort through and find out where the good stuff is? How do we determine the right, most powerful, most consequential questions to ask? And the one I love, does this work open new territory? How much of the science that we see right now is actually opening new territory? Or work in the humanities, or social sciences, or behavioral sciences, or health sciences? How much of it is stuck in these sort of iterative, incremental modes? Because that's what's rewarded. And automated review cannot help. Very excited about new stuff from Elsevier like Leap Space, and these are still LLMs built on top of existing corpus, right? They're not actually capable of evaluation. They're capable of finding, but not necessarily finding the best stuff, not necessarily. Early evidence suggests that these systems skew towards generic cues, such as reproducibility and scalability, confident assessments generated without genuine contextual understanding of whether a gap matters. Like, is this work happening in a space where work needs to happen? Why we feel like we can talk about this problem is we're from SDSU. We're scrappy. We are a newly minted research one that has always prided itself upon hitting above its weight class, excellent world-class researchers, working with undergraduates in classrooms, funded by and designed to build the future of the people of the state of California. We like big challenges. My role at SDSU is I am the custodian of the tenure and promotion processes for all faculty. So I see what happens when portfolios and discussions about portfolios are skewed towards very, very narrow numeric indices. It's not helpful necessarily. It excludes excellent work. And my colleagues here represent fields in the sciences, and not with us on stage is Taharka Ade, who's another colleague in the humanities, an important contributor to this, have seen the problem from their lenses. And I'm going to hand it over to them to take us the next step.
Thanks, Joanna. And so I'm an engineer. So for me, this becomes a sort of more of an engineering question, right? We need better metrics, but what are those? What do we really want to measure? And one of the easy things was, okay, if the work that has come out from a lab, from an institution, from an individual, it's novel, it's original, then that's valuable, right? It's not done by anybody else before. Okay, cool. So originality could potentially be a metric. Funnily enough, 3 out of the 4 people sitting here don't completely agree on what we think is original. It can be very broad, it can be very narrow, it can be different depending on the field we are in. I'm an engineer, Forrest is a scientist, Joanna is an English professor. So yeah, we care about different things. Even if we call it by the same name, we actually care about different aspects of it. So question becomes, again, if we call it something, how do we still define it? And then how do we measure it? And what we have come up with is an interesting approach. So everything can be adjudicated in the context it was done in, right? So the context is what is key. It matters. And so if you take something, it can be a body of work, it could be a single paper, whatever it is, and put it in the context of everything else within that space, and then see how it relates to that. Then you can, let's see, close the one? Yeah. Then you can actually come up with a lot of different connections, how it connects to things that have been done in the past, things that are being done right now, how it connects to completely different fields, right? How it bridges things across fields. You can come up with a lot of interesting different metrics. For example, if we talk about originality, again, there are many aspects of originality, and one of it could be how disconnected it is from everything else. But the other one could be that how in between it is something, 2 different completely existing spaces, right? You could also talk about responsiveness in terms of what people have already done and how the current work that you're trying to assess actually integrates with what has been done. Or you can talk about consequentiality, which is more forward-looking, as in how well or how much it will change the landscape of the existing knowledge. So how do we do that, and how do we actually go into the technical details of building these maps and quantifying these metrics? I'll call Dr. O'Neill.
Thank you, Dr. Katira. So I took some notes for this. I'm going to get set up really quick. Hey everyone, I'm Dr. O'Neill. So going from scholarly value of our three signals to actionable signals, we use basic steps that are not generative AI based. They're basically advanced data science with heuristics mixed with some classical machine learning. So everything is tangible right in front of you and entirely heuristic based off of the ongoing knowledge space. Here's an application of our tool that can be used for multiple applications such as reappointment, promotion, and thank you, Joanna. Here's an application of our tool for reappointment, promotion, and tenure committees. This is a CV of my PhD mentor, Dr. Parag. Our tool takes in a standard CV of publications in chronological order, and it does an automatic lookup of their top 5 methods, pains and impacts of the faculty's life work. And you can take their life's work, put it on a global landscape of randomly sampled publications in their respective field, in this case, Dr. Katira, it's biomechanics, and you could see their themes for their entire career in academia. Dr. Katira has 76 heuristically determined themes across three different dimensions of methods, pains, and impact. So this knowledge map really tells a story of his work. It's literally a fingerprint of his contribution to science. If you look, you can see in cell mechanics in migration, the galaxy in the middle, you see dozens of methods of his work demonstrating its consequentiality. More interesting, you see the vast majority of his pains and impact over on the right in cancel signaling and metastasis, demonstrating his own originality to this knowledge base of biomechanics. You see his methods and his pains and impact across disparate fields, interdisciplinary works. Last, his responsiveness. It's a story told here by a novel application of his methods in cell mechanobiology as it applies to pains and the impacts of cancer. So originality, responsiveness, and consequentiality, as you can see, are grounded by specific graph network signals in our knowledge maps. To be clear, this is not designed to replace expert judgment. It's just a framework to give evaluators clear measurements of various different types of novelty across different disciplines. Here are examples of signals we measure in our algorithm. I'll be brief, because it's pretty elaborate. And again, to be clear, all these signals come directly from our knowledge graphs and our measurements, not from generative AI. So another boon with our algorithm to reappointment, promotion, and tenure committees, we can use this, as you saw with Dr. Katira, to create graph signals, to use these graph signals to create profiles of originality, responsiveness, and consequentiality, or C profiles for faculty. These maps are calibrated in real time to keep the system fresh with ongoing knowledge and advancements in their fields. All our categories and features in our metrics are completely visible, so reviewers can tangibly understand what they're looking at instead of a generated LLM black box of responses regarding their research. They can actually see the actual cited works, the pain points, methodologies, basically, and the actual work itself with our tool. And so our hope, with this tool, we move away from tools like metrics like H-index. So instead, we have metrics like what work is new in this terrain. Is this work connecting to conversations that actually matter? And is this work shaping the scholarly practice for future progress? So basically, our work gives you the missing dimension of academic novelty. Metrics for influence exist already, like raw citations and H-index, but neither tell you what work is semantically reaching sparse, crucial knowledge bases. The 42-degree framework matters most right now because AI-generated papers are flooding the system, as we know. Generative AI works as a probability algorithm to produce the same outcome for the same inputs and the same questions. So we're seeing more and more published work as a result of this that sits in knowledge maps in a lower novelty and higher density of clustering. The 42 degrees novelty framework, both originality, responsiveness, and consequentiality, they identify and highlight the exact opposite of what LLMs currently do. So for the scholars that truly value such things as open science, interdisciplinarity, and community engagement to flourish, we must have evaluation systems that actually reward this. We gladly provide our novelty tool as a scoring metric for fellow scholars. And I'm the original creator of the 42 degrees engine. It was part of my dissertation work. And here are our future plans. There are currently 26 different academic fields as defined by the Open Alexandria Online Academic Library. And each discipline has its own definition of its own originality, responsiveness, and consequentiality. So we need domain experts for these disciplines. Currently, we have experts in 3 of the 26. And another issue is obviously with large data, such as all the academic publishing work that's happening across all time is scaling. We use gigantic amounts of publication data and computational power for our proprietary algorithm. So if you're interested in helping us calibrate signals of responsiveness, originality, and consequentiality in your own field, or want to help us expand and improve our tool's system design, we'd love your help. And thank you all for your time.